Okay, people. So when I saw the Three Musketeers had dropped, I was like, yo, we gotta have a conversation. We gotta take a look at this. You know what I mean? Because we mentioned it, it came up when we spoke about the Robin Hood film last year. So yeah, just checked it out, people. I've just checked it out. And you know, all is good. So Bill Bill Thomas directs. He also, I think he writes this with his brother Ian Thomas, Dean Lines, and Ray Bogdanovich. The film is produced by Lucinda Rhodes Fakra, Jeet Fakra, and Rick Gordon. It's executive produced by Ben Jacques, Katie Wilkinson, and Elizabeth Williams, and associate produced by Sammy Meesum. Christopher Cook is on the music, Paul Jenkins, cinematography, Philip Perry edits the piece, Errol Jark, production design, Jordan Graff, costume design. We got Mika Curry and Jordan Graff on makeup. Production management is Ed Wood. And our cast, well, you have got Malachi Pullar-Latchman as D'Artagnan. We've got David O'Mahony as Paphos, Ben Freeman as Athos, and Jake J. Menini as Artemis. We have who have we got here? Milady is played by Preeya Kalidas. Madame Chevenue is played by Sophie Craig. We got Cardinal Richelieu, played by James Cosmo. Michael Higgs is Juzac. James Oliver Wheatley is Roquefort. We have got the General, played by Tim Berrington. De Treville is Roland Stone. King Louis is Tom Taplin. Bernajou is played by Stanley J. Brownie. Celine is played by Lex Parry. Yeah, I would say that's probably the main crew. And the gist is this: France is in turmoil, and a new naive king finds himself manipulated by the evil Cardinal Richelieu. With a corrupt commander of the royal guard by his side, the cardinal employs the expertise of the devious and wicked Milady de Winter in a plot to bring down the monarchy and drag the country into war. As France burns, the cardinal will take control. All that stands between them and victory are the remnants of an elite group who wore loyalty to the crown and country. Above all else, the Musketeers will stand against the odds to fail this deadly plot. Bum, 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 bum. So, The Three Musketeers is one of my favorite stories. One of my favorite stories. It is just so great. Like, growing up with D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds was just, man, that was one of them shows that you rushed home from school for. You know what I mean? Like as a kid, there was a load of fun things on TV, but there was only a few things where you're like, nah, we're playing football or whatever after this. Like that's not you could not miss an episode of D'Artagnan. You know what I mean? And then, right, you had well, I remember like the Oliver Reed film. Now, obviously, it came out before I was born, but I just remember watching that one. That was fun. But the one I really, really enjoyed was in '93 when you had Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Pratt, and Christopher O'Donnell. That was a fun one. There have been missteps, right? There's definitely been some missteps. And the Paul W.S. Anderson, boy, that was terrible. And I hated the last BBC TV series, The Musketeers, where they were like, oh, the Musketeers are all hip. Oh, they're wearing leather and blah, blah. It was just like, oi, oi. So, you know what I mean? I've also read the book so many times. It's Alexander Dumas is great, right? So this is a story where I'm just like, yo, if it's terrible, I'm gonna be pissed. But this was a lot of fun. It was fun. You know what I mean? I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's like it reminded me of those old cereals, right? Not cornflakes, people. I mean the TV serials that were on back in the day, right? I'm talking about the black and white ones. You know what I mean? Forbidden Planet, Flash Gordon, Zorro. It was like swashbuckling, or swashbuckling, right? It was that, right? Because look, there was things that are just like, okay, you know what I mean? Am I going to fully believe in that bit or that bit? But it's just when things harken back to those old days of just pulpy fun. There's a charm about that. And this is what this did, you know? Like, as I said, that BBC series, hated it, right? The Paul W. Thomas Anderson one, hated it. Those had a far greater budget than what old Bill had with this. You know what I mean? So there's elements that may have looked a little tighter and sharper, but they just were devoid of charm. This had a lot of charm, right? It's just that opening bit when you got D'Artagnan picking a fight with all the fucking musketeers and not realizing it, right? I mean, come on. And fuck you, right? This book is mad old. You know what I mean? There's no real spoilers with D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers. You know what I mean? This is a story etched in time, son. If you don't know it, shame on you. Shame on you, right? It's just classic. But yeah, it was just seeing those moments brought to life was just, great. Yeah, obviously, there's things which were a bit like, there's, D'Artagnan, terrible sword fighter at the beginning. And you're like, we never see him practice. So how's he improve? You know what I mean? There's little bits like that, right? It's I always find it amusing in films where you see, like, obviously days have gone by, but people's stubble and like hair never changes, right? It's just like, yo, you never have to shave, right? You're in a time where there was no washing machines, but clothes and gums are always looking crisp. You know, it's just like, yeah, there's things like that. But I think you they can jar you if something isn't connecting. But if you are, you know what I mean, drawn in, you can often let those things slide. You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, it's just that classic tale retold. You know, there's a few changes, there's a few things left out and all of that, but the bare bones are here. You know, we've got the evil cardinal, got Milady doing her thing, and which is, I think, in different iterations, like Milady, like there's different capabilities of Milady, right? Like in D'Artagnan, you know, but was she a white fox? I think she was a white fox or a cat. One of those two. But you know what I mean? They're like there was some good in her, right? So it's just like the different iteration shows you the different kind of styles and everything. Just, you know, gave it a stamp of its own, right? It had its own kind of feel to it, right? I enjoyed the music. Now, you know, I can be very, you know, harsh on music in films when you just feel like it's trying to force these emotions on you. But this one, it really helped to imbue that, you know what I mean, sword and gunpowder, right? That olden day vibe, right? It just kind of, just the way it all came together made you just think of those classics, right? Those classic tales, you know, set the scene. You know, you felt like you're in olden times with a sword at your hip, ready to face rogues. So yeah, there was definitely a charm to it, right? So yes, this, if like me, you are a fan of Dumas, right? If the Three Musketeers is one of those stories that you just love to death, I think Bill and his peoples do a solid job. They don't let you down. You're not going to be like, I can't believe you fucked this up. It's not that. It's definitely not that. So, people, I think this is a one to check out. It's unoffensive. So you can, you know, bring the fam, right? You could, it's like that gateway to the world of Dumas, right? So you can let your little kids watch it, your cousins, all of that jazz, you know, get them hooked, right? And then you can bring in, you know, the 93 version and the Musker Hounds and all the other joys, and even just read the books. I think there's 4 books, right? Feel there's 4 books. Um, but yeah, definitely worth checking out, people. The Three Musketeers, one for all and all for one.